New week, bringing some new streams. Today we're going to work on something a little different. I'm currently on my alts plot. The idea is I use her plot for just, typically it's for sample builds for the CBDC that I do for my guild. The CBDC stands for Custom Built Decor Challenge. It's a monthly challenge that I issue to my guild with a different theme every month. And basically it's just they're asked to put together something that's custom built. Like in the past we've had vehicles, land-based vehicles. So some of them did classic cars, others did carriages, and I did a Flintstone vehicle, you know, really low tech. We've also had, well, last month's was playground item, and just different themes to just kind of, you know, mix it up and give them some opportunity to try different things, because a lot of my guildmates, some of them are very mechanically inclined, so they do a lot of lab kind of builds and cars and things more specific to like the style of WildStar. But the purpose of the challenge is not only to get people kind of interested in putting new things, things together in different ways, but just to kind of help them stretch their imagination. You know, while, for instance, like last month's playground items, not everybody's going to want to put a playground on their plot. I know this, but things that you put together for those items might give you ideas for other things that you could use. And of course, those that are looking for playground items that they do want to put on their home, you know, they can see these builds and think, wow, you know, I didn't think about putting that together in that way. Because I've seen on some homes, public homes that I've visited, you know, I've seen teeter-totters and swing sets and things like that. So I just wanted to put the challenge out there for them to build those type of things and see what they could come up with. Now you'll see that this is the remnants of a merry-go-round that I had built for the challenge. Typically since I'm the one that sets up the challenge, I have a whole list of ideas of different things that I could present to them. So I've already kind of got an advantage. I know well in advance what the theme is going to be, so I'm already playing around with ideas. And the way I usually do it is a week before the new month, the new challenge, I put together a sample of what I'm looking for from them. So I put together this merry-go-round, and you can see it's pretty basic. It's nothing fancy. It's just, you know, a few pieces thrown together to represent a merry-go-round. It's, you know, not colorful or anything. But then when I post the challenge, then they can see, you know, exactly what I'm talking about when I say I want you to build something along those lines. Then that gives them some ideas. And it doesn't mean that they can't build a merry-go-round as well. They could have just, you know, obviously we wouldn't want them copying straight item for item what I did. It would be, you know, something of their own, with their own ideas and twist to it. But since today is the 1st of June, that means it's a new CBDC for the guild. So I've already posted the announcement to let them know what the new theme for this month would be. The difference is because usually I set it all up well in advance and have this example built and everything. I typically keep out of the voting process, meaning I use mine as an example only. My build is not eligible for the voting at the end of the month that we usually have, because we don't have like any prizes or anything. It's mostly just an extra incentive, not only to have my guild mates frequent the forum more often, because they'll be anxious to see what's coming up, or who's building what, or who's winning in the vote and everything, and voting for others, extra incentive to be active in the forum. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, typically I don't put my build in the vote, and I've had a few guildmates say that they feel like maybe I'm missing out on part of the fun by not being included, which for me it's really not about the vote. For me it's just about getting people motivated, not only to be more active in the forums, but also to give housing a try, and just to kind of play around with it, and not always be specific about well, it has to be in theme with my housing plot and everything. That's why we're allowed to use alt plots, so that it doesn't disrupt anything they might already have ongoing. Because I want to give them as much freedom as possible, but keep it within the guild. So it's got to be a character that's in the guild, but as long as it's that, then it doesn't have to be on their home plot. So that's why I'm using my alt as a kind of a test grounds for these kind of projects. But anyway, a guildmate has taken the initiative of suggesting a theme. So we're going to go with that this month, and that's why I haven't put anything together for it yet. I've really tried my best to just kind of put the challenge out of my mind, so that I wouldn't be like having too much of a head start on the others, because they get the challenge theme at the first of the month, and they have approximately 3 weeks to build it, whatever they're going to build. And then the last week of the month is when the guild is asked to visit all of the entrance plots, take a look, and then vote for their favorite. And then at the end of that month, or the first of the next month, the winner's announced, and then the new challenge is given. So like I said, there's no like big prizes or anything. The main thing is like, brownie points for winning the vote is basically all there is. So this is more about just being rewarded and seeing that, yeah, they were able to do it. They took on the challenge and completed it. It's open for all levels of builders. You don't have to be an expert builder. Even beginners are encouraged to join in, because it's a good practice exercise type of thing for them to become more familiar with the controls of housing, to again think outside the box as far as what items could be used in different ways to represent different things. So today, instead of working on the subway, we're going to take a break from that and see about trying to figure out something to do for this month's CBDC theme. As you can see, my plot name for my alt is actually called the CBDC Creation Station. It's a kind of a goofy name, but it's just a reminder for me that her home is basically just a clean canvas for whatever. I always remove what was there the last month, so the turtle I built before is gone, and the of course I just removed the merry-go-round and everything else. Because part of submitting your entry, the optional thing to do is to specify what items you use and how many of them. So, because when you see someone that's put something together, they might say, yeah, I use this and this, but they might not give every single item. and there may be things in it that you don't realize that's actually being used, or you might not be familiar with the name of the item. And so as I build something here, I have nothing else on the plot. That way I can look directly on my place decor list and just say, okay, I've used this amount of that, this amount of that, and so on and so forth, and then I can list it out in my entry. Now that's a completely optional thing. Some of them do that for theirs, others don't. But I like, giving that extra bit of information for those that are curious as to what materials I use. So this month's theme is kind of a broad theme. It kind of plays on a former theme that we did. The former theme was we did an animal build. I think I had a turtle. We had one that did an owl, and another that did a vulture, and a sheep, I think, was another one. And this one is aquatic. It has to be specifically an aquatic animal or plant. Now, when the suggestion was put in, it was a little... when I try to present a theme for a challenge like this, I go through in my head, what kind of things could I make for that? And if I can think of plenty of things that could apply to that theme, then I feel like it's a good theme. I feel like it leaves it a lot of open room. I don't want to say you have to build a bread loaf. There's only so many ways that people could probably come up with a bread loaf. But if I say build a food item, either they can, put together some kind of elaborate Caesar salad, or they can make a hamburger, or they can make fries, or, their own version of a succulent pig platter, that kind of thing. So when I choose a theme, I try to choose a very broad one. Now, the aquatic animal part is pretty broad, but the plant part, I think it's going to be a difficult one to pull off if people decide to go with that. I know there's such thing as like kelp forests and stuff, but unless they really get creative on what they use for the kelp, rather than just using like the leafy stalks and just lining them up in rows and rows, I think it could be a kind of a tougher side of the challenge to take on. So I expect most of them will probably stick with going for an aquatic animal. Now, by aquatic, I don't think they were super specific as to whether or not it needed to be freshwater or saltwater. For the purposes of this challenge, I left it open that it could be either or. That way it just gives a little bit more flexibility, room for folks to, if they want to go, build a goldfish, they can. If they want to do a whale, that's also acceptable. It doesn't even have to be anything that, swims per se. I mean, they can make a lobster if they want. The main criteria is it needs to be organic, and it needs to be something that is primarily underwater. So that's the main gist of the theme. So since I've kind of put it out of mind up until now, because I just finished posting the new challenge in the guild forums, and I'm thinking, oh no, what am I going to build? Because I'm basically just doing it right alongside them. So I've been thinking kind of the last few minutes, what could I possibly put together? And I have absolutely no idea. For me, while I say anyone in the guild can build, most of them have got a level 50 character by now. And of course, my main is level 50 as well. But the plot that I'm using is an alt, and she's only level 22. Hey Stick, doing pretty good, just kind of going over some new little side project I've got going on. How are you doing? Anyway, the alt is only level 22, so that means there are some restrictions for her. There's a lot of decor items that are item level restrictive. So while I can think of, well, I can put this together and that together, I'll later discover I can't give them to her because when you're working on as a roommate for someone else, they have to put the items into the crate if it's not directly bought from the housing vendor and stuff. So there's a lot of things I've sent over to her that she cannot use. And oh, are you working on raiding? We just did a bonus raid yesterday evening. We downed Kurlak last Friday, so we decided to go for a bonus raid to check out level 2 of GA. That's a very nasty place. We did get some time in on, I think it's Phage Maw is the name of it, the little fish thing that flies around. And I think we got him down to either in the teens or the 20s percentage before we ended our raid. But yeah, it's raiding's fun, but it's nerve-wracking for me, so I tend to favor the housing. I'm glad you're working on your house, though. Like to see how that goes. So, ideas for aquatic animal or plant. I guess, coral could be like some kind of a coral reef would work. The thing is, the idea is to build a specific single item. It's not like a whole scene. Even though some of them do present their items, like one for last month built a swing set, and they had plushies, sitting on the swings and kind of just played out the scene, had grass underneath it and everything. The main thing you're looking at is the swing set itself, because that was part of the theme, was just the playground item itself, not the grass and the creatures playing on it. And when they do set a scene like that, it can obscure sometimes what you're actually wanting to showcase. So I try to, get them to either be careful about what they set the scene with. Like say for instance, if this is an aquatic animal, then they could technically create a fishbowl or an aquarium type thing and set the whole thing up with plants and everything. But whatever animal or specific plant that they're building, that needs to be really visible, because the more they've got it obscured by other things, the harder it is for those that come in to look at it to be able to judge it. Yeah, I didn't enjoy the attunement process. It was kind of nerve-wracking, and it was even more so for me because most of those in my guild, they had gone through the majority of the attunement process well in advance of me, because housing kind of slows me down. I kind of get absorbed in that, and I forget to go tackle a dungeon or a world boss or something. But I eventually got it, and it's been fun. We only go once a week because we're casual and not really like, we want to make progress, but we're not like you gotta do it and everything like that. I think in the next week or so we'll probably actually start formally doing 2 raids a week, just because we've finally progressed to the second level of genetic archives. So it's more or less a requirement, just because of the time it takes to get through all of the mobs on the first level to even open up the second level. So for me though, I don't think I want to. I did that in the past in WoW, and it was very draining and stressful. I think we were doing like 4 nights a week at that point, and I really don't want to get back into that kind of rhythm. I want to keep it as as fun as possible. And the more nights I add to my agenda, the less enjoyable I think it will become, because it will start feeling like a requirement, like a job kind of thing, and I really don't want to do that. So we'll see how it goes. I went to the bonus raid yesterday, so that was 2 nights this last week that we did raiding that I participated in. But like I said, it was kind of a unusual situation. We don't have 2 nights usually every week. And I think I really just want to keep it to one, but I don't know how that will go as far as those that are leading the raids, if they will appreciate someone that only wants to go once in a while. I think at the moment it's not going to be too big of an issue because we don't actually have a full raid team yet. We're still always 3 to 4 short. But as it becomes more people are attuned and everything like that, I think it'll become more like they'll take priority for those that have raided regularly than as opposed to someone that like me, which is fine. I'm okay with that. You know, while I enjoy the time and the experience of seeing that content, I won't be heartbroken if I don't go all the time. So. Anywho, yeah, that kind of schedule, the 4 or 5 day, even 3, is really taxing, because you know when you're not raiding, then you're busy trying to get better gear, or you know, rune it up just right, and I really don't enjoy that aspect of it. Thanks. Yeah, Mr. Darcy was I got him from the pumpkin contest that Carbine held last year. It's the pumpkin carving thing. I did a carrot on the pumpkin. And the name Mr. Darcy is comes from a guildmate. I did a little kind of a mini contest kind of thing of name that WildStar, and they suggested a ton of names, and I ended up picking that one. That was the cutest one out of the bunch for me. So yeah, that's Mr. Darcy. So, aquatic, animal, or plant? I have absolutely no idea. I want something that I can kind of maybe, in theory, replicate, but for me, it's not going to be like an exact thing. I'm thinking of things that are pretty iconic as far as fish and mammals go, that I think might have some parts that I could find bits of decor that could represent that. I know we have a lot of horn items, like for the Draken bits, so you know that would be good at representing nice teeth or spikes on the fins and stuff. So I'm thinking it'll be something like maybe a lionfish, or possibly like an anglerfish. I don't know if anybody knows what the angler is the one that's got the little dangly thing in the front, and he kind of lures the other fish, and then he kind of gobbles them up or whatever. That's kind of what I'm thinking of off the top of my head. How I'm going to pull that shape off, I don't know. So again, being that I'm working on my alts plot, I'm restricted as to what my alts can actually put into her crate. So it's somewhat limited. Not everything will be accessible for her because she's only level 22, I think. Maybe one day I'll work on leveling her some more, but at the moment she's kind of stuck. And I kind of take that as an extra challenge, at least for myself, that I'm a little, you know, kind of like I got the one hand behind the back thing. as opposed to, you know, most of my guildmates who have relatively more access than I do to certain things. But she does definitely, I can buy anything I want from the housing vendor, which I typically do. And you can see that she's got a few things in the crate beyond that that I've either picked up or included. You know, I've sent a few things over. Like, see, that would be a good angler light thingy. Gonna move away from, let's see. Let's do this inside, I think. Kind of get away from that annoying or here, we'll do it over here again. Can't make up my mind. Well, if they patched it, cause like when I went on her this morning, there was a bunch of housing items in her inventory, and I couldn't learn them because it kept telling me that she didn't meet the requirements, and that's when I realized that the level stuff still was applicable. I think I had heard talk that they were going to change that to make it a little more flexible, but either it's because the items already existed that's not working, maybe it doesn't, you know, it's not retro, or they just haven't applied that yet. I haven't a clue. So for the moment, I'm just working on with the limitations that I've noticed. So let's see, what was that? Floating, hanging, some kind of lamp. Yeah, hanging. So we're going to start with the premise that we're going to go for the anglerfish, I think. I think that would be a good anglery type of little doohickey. His little lamp that he lures the baby fish in with. So let's see. I know those things have like a gaping maw, and it's like a lot of teeth. So I'm gonna see what she has available in her crate at the moment, and then I will see if there's anything I can buy that might suit the needs. I have no idea what I'm going to use for like the body of the fish. Maybe it'll be a mechanical looking. Of course, it's supposed to be organic, but I don't know if there's any way to really make it look like a real fish without, you know, taking some liberty as to what items I use. And I know there's like a sunfish and several other aquatic type plushies, but again, that would be like really cheap and cheesy to just use those. The idea of this challenge is to build one of your own. Maybe you can use those as inspiration if you have them, but the idea is to really build it from scratch. So let's see, maybe look in the drake and stuff, because I know they tend to have a lot of like horns and that kind of thing going on in their decor. I don't really want to spend a bunch of renown and stuff on some of this, but you like that's. But then you got the flame, and I don't think the fish has flames coming out. So we need to find something, probably like the fencing might work. think the pale have some kind of features, and I think what's the other one? The falcon are also got a lot of natural materials. Yeah, see, they have a lot of like bone stuffs in their decor as well. Yeah, see, that would make a good piece. The only thing is you'd have to, contend with the ropes. But if you can just kind of fashion it in, then maybe you can get away with it. People wouldn't be too bothered by it. I'm going to create a few of these. I'm probably starting all wrong. I start with the light and then I'm looking at the teeth now, but I probably should really be thinking about, well, what am I going to build that body with? But, maybe as I go, I'll get a little inspired as to what kind of items I could use. I don't know. Maybe I end up scrapping this for something else entirely. That's a very strong possibility because I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing here as far as making it look like something. I'm trying to think how the mouth, like a bucket, kind of like, or maybe it's I know it's like a gaping maw kind of thing. So maybe, well, now you can see me at my true nature, completely lost about what I might be doing. Let's see. Probably too high. Not a bit. I'll probably have to adjust all of this over and over because, again, I don't know what kind of items I'll use as the actual fish body. Let's just put these out here. Now today is supposed to be the beginning of the anniversary event in WildStar, where they were to give us a bunch of freebie items, some new stuffs, including a decor piece and a title and everything else. Hey Samson, this isn't a particular theme per se. I don't really build on this plot. This is an alt plot, and today it's just I'm working on, to be explained real quick, I put up a what I call the CBDC. It's the Custom Built Decor Challenge. Every month for my guild, I give them a new theme and they're asked to put something together. Like last month was a playground item, so we had some that built slides and swing sets and a ball pit, and I did a merry-go-round, etc., etc. The theme before that was land-based vehicles. So we had some that built unicycles, classic cars, and carriages, and things like that. The one before that was animals. We had turtles and sheep and vultures and owls. This month, the theme is aquatic animal or plant. Basically, it can be freshwater, saltwater, it doesn't matter, as long as it's organic and it primarily spends most of its time underwater. So I'm kind of at a loss as to what to build, so I'm just kind of playing around with ideas, and at the moment I'm attempting to formulate something that might resemble a anglerfish. That's the little fish that's got the little dangly thing that kind of lures the other fish, and then he gulps them down in his big mouth. So if that's going to work, we don't know, but we're going to give it a try. So if either of you or anyone have any suggestions or ideas, or just want to critique or whatever. Oh yeah, well, a lot of people get confused. Even my guildmates, there's some that don't visit the forums, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Because I'll like announce it in a guild chat or something, or I'll have somebody talking to me about it, and I'll say, "Well, this month's CBDC," and they're like, "What is that?" And it's like, have to re-explain over and over what it is, because I guess a lot of people just don't do that. I like trying to give a little extra stuff for the guild to do. Most of it is kind of housing centric, but not everything is. I do like a screenshot challenge for them as well, where I take a screenshot of someplace where I'm standing someplace in the open world, and I say, "Can you find where this is?" The first one that gets it, gets a prize. Yeah, it's this particular plot is just basically her plot is dedicated to this challenge. So she doesn't really have anything built. I've got a plug there, but that's because I use it to farm for renown. But the interior is actually empty. I only use it for strictly for this challenge, and I clear it every month. So it's pretty boring on this plot at the moment. It's only for playing around with ideas for new things. Let's see. What kind of... I don't really know what the color of a lanternfish is. Or not lanternfish, the anglerfish. I know they're ugly things. Probably come in different colors and everything, but I don't know what if I could use a pillow for that, or it's not like they have to, it has to function, or it's just kind of a general idea of the animal. Of course, we have all these cutesy colors, and the green's got that cross hatch on there. I don't know if that would work to my advantage or not. I don't even know if the anglerfish has scales. I assume it does, but I don't know. I think more like floor. I think it might be something to just use oh, I thought that was somebody at the door. It's a trailer going over the road, really. And what are you up to today, Samson? Or maybe a tube. Just getting some different pieces out. I kind of like the stony look, even though the fish probably isn't stony, but it gives it a nice texture to it, rather than just using something smooth. Let's see. Probably. Let's see. I got a dome. I wonder if I make it a hollow dome. Get a hollow one as well. You know, maybe this could work as the mouth. Probably like too deep of a like a gullet kind of thing, but we'll see if we can kind of finagle that in. Oops, what that thing? Stumbling around aimlessly, are you? Oh, this looks so cruddy. Something like that? I don't know. Let's see, if I use the hollow dome for the one, I guess I have to use it for the upper part too. So, let me just get another hollow dome out. Drinking. And then I would assume it's basically the same size. I know, kind of like so. Like a weird Pac-Man. A Pac-Man fish. Okay, so clearly the teeth is going to be a little too big with the using the fence pieces, so I'm going to size those down a little bit and see if I can get them better to line up. It's not going to be exact with the curve of the dome, obviously, because of the way they're made. Unless I get them really small. And then it's not going to be like as intense, because I think the things have like really long teeth. Probably some other item that I could probably more easily use, but this is the one that come to mind, so that's what I'm going to try and utilize. Awesome. Got a lot of guildmates coming in, checking their mail, and then leaving again. I do that sometimes, but if I'm gonna log in, usually I try to stick around for a little bit, because that just looks weird. I don't think it's gonna pull off very easily, you know. Very believable. That's the shape just, look, my carrot's in the bowl. He's fell for the lure, is what it is. I still don't know how well this is going to work, because it's pretty messy with the ropes and everything. If I had like a single, just plain old horn with nothing else on it, I could probably get away with that much. Whoa. But I'll fiddle with this this particular idea until I just absolutely get sick of it and decide that it is a unsavable, undoable build for me. Oh, how did it get turned that way? But that's how I usually do it. I like just over and over, I keep messing with the build, you know, for whatever item it is, whether it be a full plot thing or just a specific item. Like say I'm wanting to build a refrigerator, I'll probably go through several renditions of putting different things together that I think might work, and then just decide either it's a complete no-go or I'll find something that works okay for the particular theme I'm working on. And that's really all you can do with these kind of things, is just keep at it. If something doesn't work like you want, then try something else. So for now we're going to stick with the anglerfish idea, but you know, tomorrow it may change. It's just a lot of hit and miss as far as what looks okay and what doesn't. Because I'm thinking these fences work okay for the direction that they're going there, but if I turn the fence to try and line it up to create the whole ring of teeth, the points are going to be odd. I may have to actually try and use the post, the one that's got just a bit of the rope on it, and have to use a bunch of individual ones to represent the front teeth. But again, that's going to pose the issue of having that string out there. I don't know if that's going to, you know, cause a lot of issues for the way I want it to look or not. Now, I did think about just doing a regular fish, just like a general fish, and using like something for the scales. I kind of had the idea that plates would probably a good item to use for that. They look like scales to me, so that could be another option. Looks like an evil Pac-Man there. Just pretty gruesome looking. Now, if I try to use this as the teeth, is that gonna work? And you'll see what I mean by the rope. Not just gonna be I think it'll be too much of a problem to really be. Although maybe, you know, you could pretend that it's some of those fish have like catfish feelers, you know, little antenna bits hanging out. Maybe we can pretend that that's what this is, but I think it's going to bug me enough that I'm not going to like it, no matter what I pretend it might be. Thing's really huge compared to the others. But the smaller I make it, the more I'm going to have to use, and that just means, you know, of course her plot, this is all this going to be on it, so It's not like I'm having to really watch the core count too much. The main thing is just the annoyance of having to put in a bunch of little bits. Trying to get, you know, being so particular about where this sits, and I'll probably not use it, but there's that. And I'd have to do that all the way around here and same way up here just to get that kind of rounded teeth thing going on. And then for SpongeBob, yeah, no, well, yeah, I didn't specify if it had to be imaginary or not, you know, so it's possible he does live under the water. That would be a pretty funny one, and it would probably get my vote just because of the humor of it. It's like last month's playground item theme. We had one do a fantastic job of one of those. You've seen those like playground sets. It's got like the little rope bits and the slide, and it's got the little climbing wall and a little like rooftop on it, and it could be like a little mini fort kind of thing. It's just an all-in-one combo kind of deal. I had a guildmate build one of those. Looks fantastic, and some others built some other things, but one of them built a ball pit, and that thing was hilarious because it wasn't just the balls that were in it. There was like forks and food and everything else inside there, just kind of snuck in little places, and I thought that was hilarious. So I think that was one of the reasons why that one won. It was just kind of funny. So, you know, we're not looking for like 100% accurate builds. Sometimes it's just the humor that you throw into it as well. Let's see. His antenna is a little off, so oops. It could be like right there, and maybe a little lower. So now I'll have to come up with a way of joining that to his little head here. We'll make a little dangly thing, something along those lines. I don't know what, but we'll figure out something. Okay, so would he have kind of a plumpish round body? Yeah, I've posted, with all the social media that's been going on and my getting into the live streaming stuff, I've got junk on YouTube, I've got screenies that I posted in the forum, I've tweeted a few images and videos. I feel like I'm just spamming the universe with all this junk, but I just like getting the word out there and showing off what my guild has done. Not only, you know, to give them an extra pat on the back, but to just bring attention to, that looks weird. To all that you can do with housing, that it doesn't all have to be, okay, that doesn't look right, does it? Gonna be some kind of weird fishy thing. He's like all mouth. I don't know, maybe that's what those things are, it's just all mouth. Oops. Trying to change this angle here. Right. I'll probably slap some ears on it and be like cat dog or something. Let's see. We'll put on a butt. He has to have a butt. Oh, was that a hollow one too? Wait a minute. Yeah, I thought I got a regular dome. Solid one. I don't know why that matters to me, but maybe I use the hollow for something else. You guys think you would try something like this? Just pick a theme and see if you can build it. Quite the nerve-wracking thing. Let's see, what size is that? 6. Now, if ever I have a good amount of viewers that are on regularly all the time, and I think they might enjoy it, I would consider just saying, okay, for today's stream, we're going to have everybody build this, and just spend some time, everybody live online, just looking around, and then I go tour everybody's work. It might be fun. Okay, that's just a very weird looking fish body. No, pretty questionable, if you ask me. Let's see, can I use this for something? His head doesn't look right. I keep hitting the wrong arrow thing. We'll get scratchy as well. Did you guys get any rain? I had a lot of rain. Not like the flooding kind that you see in the States, but there was still quite a bit of rain. Now it looks like he's got a tumor fish. Oh, this is just looking more horrible by the minute. Looks like a... I don't know what that looks like. It doesn't look like an anglerfish to me. It's just looking really bad. And I know they got fins, but I have no idea what can be used as fins other than maybe the awnings. I don't think she's got any of those, and I'm not sure if any of those are for sale. Well, there's the small one there. But of course, it throws off the look of him because, you know, there's no red on him, so maybe that doesn't work as a good fin. Oh my God. Yeah, he doesn't look healthy at all. He's all lumpy and looks like a part of a pill. I don't know. That's part of it, though, I guess. Experimenting, seeing what doesn't work. And of course this thing moves. I don't think that'll work either very well. Unless you want to make it like look like he's swimming, but I think the proportions of the fins and the body and everything is all wrong. Oh, this is so bad. That's just horrible. Maybe we should try a different idea, just to kind of keep the lines of possibilities open. Now I mentioned that, I thought about just for a fish in general that you could use like plates as the scales. Let's get a bunch of them. And let's see, gonna make myself a nice flat surface. I can always, change the curving of it later, but I think for now it'll be better to work on a flat surface here. We're just gonna kind of see if we can lay out a fish shape, sort of, and try a different idea, a different approach. Again, this idea may not work either, but there's no harm in testing different ideas, different things, different items, and see what kind of results you get. Because something I use here and something I used over there, I may end up using in combo to make something else. And the best way to do that is just to, like I said, experiment. And that's a good deal of what custom building is all about. It's just being comfortable in trying various things. Don't feel like you have to leave it. Just use the same stuff over and over. So I'm just kind of, I don't have a particular fish in mind. I'm just going with the idea that these are scales. So I'm going to see if I can make it look something fish-like. And then from there we can go more, possibly with an idea of what kind of fish we're aiming for. Because, the plates are a certain color, they're white. Maybe not all fish look whitish. I don't know if it'd be like a carp or a goldfish or a koi, maybe. I'm also just kind of figuring out position of, where the eye of the scale is in comparison to the other lines of it. I'll line that up. The scales are kind of, they're, kind of uniform in how they're laid out. So you need to use a little bit more care as far as where you put them. At least in my opinion. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to do it that way, but for me, that's what it kind of requires. And granted, if I make this a three-dimensional type of fish, I would have to replicate this design on both sides and curve it to give it the shape of the body that you want, that you expect in the fish. And I haven't really looked at like scales, fish scales. Maybe they're more lined up in a row rather than alternated like I have here. So, maybe that's an issue. Don't have it lined right. And of course, then, I think there's a difference in overlap too, like what's behind the other. Looks like eyeballs almost, doesn't it? Maybe these should be further in. Something like so, where it's actually behind the first layer, and a little more overlap occurs. Especially with these parts that are coming in here. Of course, that would mean that you would need more to fill it in instead of having this nice wide. Something like that, kind of scaly looking. Now I need something that will help me possibly simulate a fish shape, I guess. And I think that one would work really nice for a fish shape. It's just kind of, broad on one end and it narrows down to like the tail. So what I'll do is I'll drop one of these in. And I'm going to use him as my body and let the shape of the hugel represent the shape of the fish body. let's see, how big do we want to make it? I want it to be fairly big, but not like gigantic. I want them to be able to kind of go around it and be able to see all the different bits, but don't want it to be so small that they can't see some of the nicer details. I could, once it's, usually when I build something, as I'm building it, if I decide I want it a little smaller, or fish sticks. Yeah, I like those things. They're tasty. Not the breaded kinds. I like the one that's kind of coated in the tempura coating. Those are my favorite. But as I build these things and decide, well, maybe I want it bigger or smaller, often I will link everything up and then resize it. Usually that works okay. There's still the risk of it, kind of going wonky once in a while, but I think for the most part, it works okay. So now is the fun part. Trying to see the size of the scales for this particular size of the fish body, what would work best. Of course, we'll have to be careful about following the curve of the body as well. So that'll be important as far as the size that we pick as well. The smaller, the more curve you can give it. The bigger it is, the more restricted you are as far as how you can tilt it to follow the shape. Only issue about this is the more you tweak it and the more wonky it becomes, then as you copy paste to add more bits, each one has to be individually tweaked rather than just flat out. What I could do is just start out flat with this. See, while it might not be fully touching, we just kind of go with it. Looks like the fish eye, doesn't it? But I don't want to just leave it just the green. You could use this maybe as part of a big whale. Just have or fashion its mouth and add a spout and fix up some kind of a tail. That would work too. But I want to go a little bit more elaborate with mine, so we're going to try giving it some texture to it. Just thinking about how the top of his head will look, like rounded in, like so, and this would be where his eyes are. So if that's the case, then maybe I want to bring the scales all the way up to the top here. So what I could do is put one right at the top and a little too forward here. curve both ways. Whether that's really going to look like it's supposed to, I don't know, but we'll see. It's going to be a lot of plates, that's for sure. Now remember, for the overlapping, I had to raise up the plates a bit. I'm hoping that I can get away with just kind of having that shape, even with them on the same level. Because I'd rather not like start out in the back and then have to raise them up, and then by the time you're out here, the gap between the plates and the body is so big that it won't work right. So I'm gonna see. Now, I'm working kind of flat right now, but as I get more into like curving down, it's gonna have to be adjusted quite a bit. I'm gonna see how this goes. All this work for something that I'll probably get rid of first next month. A lot of people talk about how they can't believe that I would be willing to ditch that stuff, but I do that with whole plots even. Granted, I usually leave entire plot stuff up for a couple of months after I'm finished. But I'm kind of like a nomad kind of thing. I get tired of the same look, and I get the itch to try new things, different things, and I just, can't help but feel like I want to scrap it all and start from scratch, and that's fun for me. I have a lot of guildmates that once they've built a plot, they leave it like that. They might, make changes here and there, especially when new decor comes out. But for the most part, they leave it pretty intact to how they had it from always. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you prefer, go for it. I know many use alts as an alternative to not wanting to mess up their main plot. They'll just go and expand on alts and try out different things there. In fact, one, they were telling me how they're working on like 2 or 3 at one time. For me, that's, I think I would get confused. Trying to build that many different things going on at once. But, if that's the way you want to do it, more power to you. Nothing wrong with it. Usually when I'm playing games like this, I tend to turn the music off, but WildStars, I have yet to really do that. I turn it down a lot of times, especially if I'm also having to listen to TeamSpeak or something, but for the most part, I leave the music up because I find it, a lot of it relaxing, and it's mixed up enough it doesn't sound the same old all the time. And of course, I love that he's floating. My carrot's like up in the air. Like I have a carrot backpack. Anyway, I was questing yesterday on my Dominion alt, which, by the way, I finally gotten to level 14, so I will have the opportunity to start spying on Dominion homes for my stream tours. but I was leveling with him, working on getting him to 14, and it was just entertaining. That it seems like in other games you'll go to a zone and the music is the same throughout the whole zone. And for me, when I was going through some of the quests, the music was changing depending on what quest even I was working on. Like if it was some kind of a holdout thing, the music would change, and that kind of I like that dynamic. Yeah, I like it pretty much all of them. Even some of the like the Protostar theme. Of course, I had it on a plot before, and I kind of got tired of it, but I still think it's a cute thing. Um, but I really love that they've allowed. Look at that, he's on my head now. Um, they've allowed housing to have music tracks now, so that you can adjust it to wherever you want. If you have a favorite, um, whoops, uh-oh, what did I do? There we go. If you have a particular theme that you really like, then you know you can slap that on. All right, good night, Stickman. Thanks for dropping by. Have a good night. Sleep. See you tomorrow, maybe. Someone asking for lights that give off green glows. I'm pretty sure the Elven antenna is green light. I know we have the Marauder Green Lantern thing, but they say that to them it's yellow light that it gives off. To me it looked kind of greenish, but you know. Of course, the Elven antennas aren't very easy to get a hold of, if I remember correctly. So. Yeah, it does. But like in the instance of my current plot, I have absolutely no idea what song fits that best. I am tempted to just go with the Protostar one for upstairs at least, but like the subway, I'm not sure. I think I've just left the songs as I had them before. But yeah, it's really nice, especially like if you have a western town. There's quite a few tracks that you can use that pulls that off really nicely. But I think as time goes on, they will add more, and it will become more flexible to whatever kind of mood you're trying to set. I know a lot of the bars and stuff now have that disco rhythm going on, which is fun. And of course, with the Free-to-Play coming out, my husband's finally decided to get back into it. He actually has a subscription. It's what it is my son's account. In the beginning, when I got involved with the WildStar beta, my son was all WildStar this, WildStar that. It's so amazing, blah blah blah. You know, it'd be great to get in on the game right from the beginning, and we'll be like veterans and stuff. And he was really pushing it. And finally I said, okay, I'll give it a try myself. And it just so happened that we'd both gotten the beta invites. So got into it, and the more I got into it, the more addicted I become. But because he also plays things like League of Legends, he